Hey folks, welcome to this look at the new icons that we, Inkwell Ideas, are making for our Patreon this month. This month is actually a continuation of last month's icons. Last month we made these Lord of the Rings classic style icons that we're calling Ring Lord. And this month we're expanding that with more. So last month we did kind of these mountains in the center, as well as the hills and the desert, and even the forest and marsh was all part of last month. However, this month we're doing these forested mountains that are kind of in the center here, as well as the forested hills. We're going to be doing some grassland type things. We're going to be doing some farmland, some badlands. So there's a number of new terrain types that we're adding. And to make this map, we did a couple of things, some setup things. First of all, we went to configure and we went to add configuration subfolders. So when you get the icons, which you can get through DriveThruRPG, and we'll provide the links down below. They're already there, at least last month's are, and we'll be updating them in the next, probably in about a week, as of the time I'm recording this, which is March 24th of 2023 at the moment. But in about a week, at the end of the month, we'll be adding all the additional icons, as well as kind of reorganizing the ones that are there. So you might want to hold off on actually doing too much other than kind of playing with them for the next week, as we'll be reorganizing things a little bit, and it might be a little bit better to hold off. But you can pick up the icons now or later through DriveThruRPG, and like I said, I'll have the link there. We also do this as part of our Patreon, and if you want to support us on a more ongoing basis, we'd love that and appreciate it. So through Patreon, we add new icons every month, and we've been doing that for a full 5 years now. But anyway, you would get the file through DriveThruRPG, because in Patreon, we just give you a link to get them from DriveThruRPG at no extra cost beyond what you did for supporting us on the Patreon. And there's a pinned post each month with those links where we give you the current month, and as a bonus, we give you the prior month or two's worth of icons as well. And you would unzip them onto your computer and put them into your Worldographer folder, which is typically users, your username / Worldographer, although you can change that if you need to. I'll show you that in a moment, but you would check the box for Ring Lord. This Ring Lord Expanded is going to go away. We're just going to throw them all into the Ring Lord bucket. And so once you've checked that, it will add it to your system. You can change that configuration folder you can show it by going to show, and that's just going to give you the path name that you've got. Now I've changed mine from the default, but that'll show you what it is, and you'd have to create it. That Worldographer, when you install it, doesn't create that folder. And then if you want to change it, you can go to change, and then it will bring you a file chooser for changing that. So once you've done that, the other setup thing that you need to do is go into configure, and if you want your water, your sea, to match up with the icons that match this coastline that was generated, you would go to classic. You would keep classic selected, hit continue, and then it's going to build up the list of all the different terrain that is classic styled, including these new ones. And then you go to water, sea, you click the color chooser there, click custom color, click RGB, and pick 232, 243, 246, use that, apply it, close it. And so you've got the color matching the icons that the Coastline Wizard uses. So the Coastline Wizard, you would access through generate coasts. And that's going to give you this option of use classic features for coasts. And so you would select that one to get the effect that we've got here if the Ring Lord icons are installed. If they're not there, you're not going to see that option. So once you've got that, you can hit OK, and it will generate a coastline something like what you see here. And these are just features. Features are any icons that are placed onto the map. So if I remove that filter, you can see, so here's a number of coastline features, some with one edge that are the coast, and some that are 2, 3, 4, 5 edges of coast, just depending on what's a good fit. And so we have an algorithm that will go through and look at all of your map and look for where's the water, where is it not water, and figure out what is a good fit. Which of these are a good fit for each place, and gives you a map something like this. So that's the effect that you get. But back to the terrain. So this is one approach to making your map. Once you've got that setup done, you can then place terrain and say, just for the sake of argument, say that we wanted to have a dead forest region down here, and so say I can, you're just going to pick the terrain type that you want, and click on the map where you want it. So maybe there was some magical incident here which killed this swamp forest area here and turned it into a dead forest. So you're just clicking and placing placing it where you want it. Pick the terrain that you want and click on the map where you want it. So that's one approach to making your map. I should point out that also, and this was done in the prior month for the most part, but we have a number of mouths for river mouths, and then we've also got a number of rivers, and so you can place these down. And if you look at the prior video that we did on the Ringlord icons, you can see us getting into some detail on placing all of that. So I don't want to belabor that here. I'll link to that video below this one. The other approach is to kind of make your terrain just with these blank terrain icons so that you can do everything with features. So you can kind of have the advantage that your mountains and all of your terrain isn't tied to one particular hex. And so we can pick one of these and drop it down. If I just make sure, so we do want place freely. You want to make sure that the override default scale is not checked usually, although maybe you do in some cases. Make sure that the rotation is right. I'm going to remove coast. So before at one point I had selected one of the coastlines, so I want to remove coast. And I want to point out two new things. So as we did last month with the original Ringlord icons, where we added a bit of functionality like this new coastline wizard, we added a little bit more functionality to support these icons as well. One of those things is with layers. So when you generate coastlines, it's going to add a new map layer, and this is how we kind of control drawing everything on the map. It does it in order from the bottom up, so things that are tagged or have below all as their map layer are drawn first, and things that are terrain water and above water, and so on. And then within each layer, you've got the ability to control how things are drawn. Usually, by default, it's controlled by when you drop something on the map. So if I were to drop one thing on the map, that's going to be drawn first, and then this one here would be drawn on top of that. I'm going to undo those two. But that's the general idea. And if you needed to, you could control that by changing the z-axis, by selecting one of those and then moving it up to the top, or up over one object, down one object, or down to the bottom with those change z-axis buttons. However, if we have above terrain Y ordered selected as the layer, so if it's got Y order as the layer, or as part of the layer name, then it's going to draw it kind of going down the map, regardless of when you've placed it. It's just going to place, so for example, if I place this one here, and then I place another one down, but it's above, if it's closer to the top of the map, I should say, it's going to actually draw that one first. And you can see, if you look closely at how those icons, I'll zoom in a little bit. Let me turn off the icon that I've selected, but you can see how this one here that was placed first is actually drawn on top of this other one, where these mountains overlap a little bit. So that's one of the new features that we've added to Worldographer in version 1.64. Now you're going to see up here in the corner I've got version 1.63. but this is because I'm in a development environment and we haven't released 1.64. So once I get that 1.64 out there, in the next few days, you'll see this additional functionality where if you have Y ordered in the name, then it's going to draw it kind of going down the map, and this Z-axis stuff is not going to matter. I'm going to undo those two placements of mountains because we're also going to talk about the other new feature that we're doing, which is place similar named features, this toggle button. We used to have this as an option up here on the options menu, but we thought that it made more sense to keep it on the features drawer. That's where you're most commonly going to be using it, and that's a good place to have it right there on this, so you don't have to go up to the menu bar and fiddle with it there. You can also see if it's selected or not easily. And so what this is doing, and this might be renamed, it might change it to the ABCD icon, because what it's doing is it's looking at all the different icons that you've got installed, all the different features, and in this case we have this as Mountain Cluster A, and so it's going to look for Mountain Cluster A, and it's going to see, oh, there's also B, C, D, E, F. Okay, I'm going to pick any of those when you place that for you. You know, the system is going to pick any of those for you when you place it down. So if we do pick this one, so you can see this particular icon has like 3 smaller mountains kind of in the front as the foremost icon. So if I put that down, well, no, it didn't pick that. It picked actually those 3 small mountains are on the other side. So it's a slightly different one. And then if I put this one down up here, well, that happened to pick the same one. So it's got a 1 in 6 chance because there's 6 of them right now. But here is something where those 3 mountains are shifted back a little bit, and the front mountain is actually a very tall, spiky one. So it's doing that for us. And as I was saying before, because this is all being added to the layer that is above terrain, but importantly Y ordered, even though I put this one down, you're going to see that that one is actually drawn below the icon that is further down the map. And so this just makes it easy for me to, hey, say if I, build my mountain chain upward, it just makes it easier for me to place everything and for the resulting map to sort of make sense. Talking about some of the other icons that we've got to just kind of build this icon or build this map out, we've also got these Badlands that are new, so I can throw in some Badlands icons, and likewise here, if I've got this place similar on, it's randomly picking any of the three small Badlands icons that I've got here. If I wanted to have a larger area, I could pick one of these and it will randomly pick any of those instead. And so I can kind of build out my Badlands to the side over here, make this a little bit bigger. And then I can build out my desert. And so another new icon set for March is having some sort of cactus style desert type thing going on. And I can pick any of these, and it's going to randomly pick. So there's 3 that are large areas, so like a larger area, 3 that are medium size, and 3 that are smaller. And so I can just kind of pick a couple of these guys here. And it's randomly choosing amongst all of those, and I can pick one of these small ones here to kind of fill in that gap. And then I can go and I can say, okay, well, I've got some sand dune-y stuff, and since I'll do like a medium sand dune-y type thing here, and I'll do a couple more going up to fill in the area, and then I'll do some small ones, 2, 3, 4, 6. Maybe I want one more here and one more there. And that kind of fills in my my sand dune area. Maybe I want, just for the heck of it, one more here. And then on the other side of our mountains, so we've got, our wind flow is kind of going from west to east in this latitude of our map. Maybe it's even going a little bit, from the south to the north in general. And so I can pick my hills, and I have some deciduous forest hills. Now we're going to be expanding, we still have a week to go in the month, and so we're still adding more icons to the set. Right now we've got our deciduous forest hills. We're working on the evergreen, as well as tropical hills and dead forest hills and mixed forest hills. So we're working on all of those. But for the moment, we can fill in some of our, our deciduous forest hills is what we've got available right now. And so we can spread these out as much as we want. And then we can, now let me do one more here. And you can see I don't have to be tied to the hex. So I can have this deciduous forest hill kind of cross over into the other greener background hexes. And so now I can go in and I can filter for forests, and I can pick these medium-sized forest areas here. We've got 3 large ones, 3 medium, and 3 small clusters. And I can then say, which ones of these do I want? And it's randomly picking, so the first 2 times I clicked, it happened to pick the one that I had selected previously. And then it's going to change that up and just randomly be picking different ones. And then a nice little effect to kind of keep it from looking too identical then is to kind of go back in there and fill in a little bit of small tree clusters, just to kind of give it a little bit more of an effect, so that it doesn't look like a repeated pattern too much. And so that's what you can kind of pull off. I can throw a couple little clusters out here just to kind of balance things out a little bit. All right, so that covers that. And then let's say that I want to have some farmland. So I can pull up our farmland icons, and likewise, there's a few of these available that it's going to be randomly choosing for us. And say I want to have our farmland area down here, and maybe another one over here, and another one there like that. And so I can have this farmland. Maybe I even want one over here. And then we've got points of interest. So last month we did put in some of your basic village and city and town icons, as well as some specialized ones for wooded areas where it could be the elves, or it could be just some other culture that lives in the woods, depending on what your game world is like. And then we also did some that are for mountain dwelling cultures. But this month we've got some more that are, we did some ruined towns and some ruined cities. Last month we did a general ruins, but this month we did some more specialized ones. So I'm just going to put down, this was the town from last month, and that size. We kind of do some of these at a much larger size just to kind of make sure that they'll print out well. But we're going to scale it down as far as relative to the hex size. And we'll say that, hey, there's this town on this coast here, and maybe it makes sense to have one there as well. And then we can put in some villages, and we can stick in a village a little bit further in the middle of the farmland, and one up here, and maybe one there. And let me turn that off, and then we can find other things. So here we've got a capital, and here's a castle. So I'm going to do this castle. So and we've also got these set up for them being in a darker contrast and a lighter contrast, depending on what will look good on your map. There are some here that don't have the dark versions yet, but we will by the end of the month when we release these. So here we have a castle icon. So maybe here maybe here on the coast, we've got a castle, and maybe there's another one here between, the elves and the dwarves, or something is going on there. We can pull up the city again, and I can grab this ruined city. I can throw the ruined city in the desert, so it's kind of been swallowed by the desert sands. What else looks interesting there? We have a couple of different lair icons. From last month, we did like kind of a demon lair, and there's a serpent lair, so we can say that there's some serpent lair here in this cove. One of the things I want to do at some point is kind of monster-centered design of your campaign area, kind of thinking about how the monsters that are there impact the building your campaign area. Here are our wooded, wooded villages and towns, and a dwarven or a mountain town and village there. We've done a couple of towers last month. We also have a magic source. So if you wanted to say like here's a positive magic source over here, and maybe down over, maybe in the edge of the, maybe up near the ruined city, there's a negative magic source there. So you can fill in whatever you want, and we've got a bunch of other things to be scrolling past here. Let's see if we have any others on the bottom. Oh, we got a pyramid. So let's say that we've got kind of more of a pyramid in the woodlands. We'll go away from the pyramid in the desert trope. Of course, there's plenty of pyramids in different wooded areas of other cultures, especially in Central America, for example, and some in East Asia as well. But you can see what's available. So we've added, in this set, we've added a whole ton of additional icons for you for all these additional terrain types. The Badlands, like we were saying there, the farmland is new. The Cactus Desert is new, as well as the forested hills and forested mountains are going to be new, and then several new points of interest. These magic sources and the castle, I think, is new, or else the pyramid. A couple of monster layers are new. So that's all going to be part of this set that's going to expand the existing Ringlord set that we released last month. As I said, you can get them from DriveThruRPG, and we'll have the link there to get them directly from DriveThruRPG, as well as if you want to support the Patreon, then you get a link to pick up that set for free. Each month in our Patreon, we make it so that there's a pinned post with the current month's set of icons available as a link to DriveThruRPG at no extra cost to you, as well as the prior month or two's as well. And that's all going to be available. And then look for this update to Worldographer that has this new functionality with the place similar name features, as well as the Y-ordered map layers to be coming out in the next few days before the end of the month, March 2024 here. And I think that covers everything. If I forgot about anything else, I'll throw it as a note down below the video, but I appreciate your interest. And as I've been saying in our prior videos, if you could watch a couple of our videos, you're going to learn more. I'll likewise link to a couple of the more important ones, the Worldographer 101 or Worldographer Basics kind of stuff. And that helps us because we want to drop ads from our videos. And although we've hit our threshold for a number of subscribers, in order to do that, we need to basically double our number of hours watched. So please do watch an extra video, and you'll learn some more about the tool, and you'll also help us to drop ads from the videos. So again, appreciate your time and appreciate your interest, and have a great day.